In partnerships, we often get into this place of nagging our partner, being like, you didn't do the thing I did, because we're just noticing all the things they don't do or all the things that are our triggers, instead of noticing the good things, being and appreciating the things that they do. In the place of being a pushover, what it means is I'm going to get into alignment, and then I'm going to determine either A, I don't really care ultimately. I don't mind about putting the toilet seat down, or I do mind, and I want to have a conversation from an aligned, connected place where I'm not nagging, I'm not making a demand, but I'm willing to have a conversation and state something that doesn't feel very good for me. And in this place, one of the key phrases I want to impress upon anyone, particularly in relationships, is, would you be willing? I need you to put the toilet seat down. It's not true. It's not true. I don't actually need you to do that. That's a preference for me. I want you to put the toilet seat down is a demand. You don't want to create a dictatorship in your relationship where just because it doesn't feel good to you, the other person needs to do the thing, or just because you want it to be a certain way. Often like respect comes up here. They're disrespecting me by not doing what I want. It's like, well, they're a human being and maybe they feel disrespected. Like there's all these things to it, right? So if we take away all that and we realize we're making a request from an aligned place because it would feel really good to me. After we've been in this place, appreciating, doing the props, I'm doing everything I can to get into a place of feeling really good. And then I realize, yeah, it's a 10. I want to be in a household where the toilet seat is down. So that means in an aligned, connected place, I'm going to figure out a solution. Maybe the two of us determine like, that's not something they can do. What else are we going to do? I don't know. We're going to hire someone to put the toilet seat down. It just means we're going to get more creative. And even though it sounds kind of funny and silly, when you're in an aligned place and you come at your partner from a place and you make a request versus a demand, so much more opportunity opens up for them to say, I really don't like putting the toilet seat down. Oh, tell me why. What is it about that you don't like? So we're bringing curiosity because we actually care what the other person thinks versus I hate this. This sucks for me. I don't like it. You must not love me enough if you're not willing to do it for me, right? Versus, oh, I genuinely want to know what's up with it for you. And one of the examples I give at one point, I think in Life Camp, is when Dylan trims his goatee, there would be hair all over the sink. And he trims his goatee because I like a trimmed up face, right? So it's already for me, but I would be like, oh, can you just clean up after it? And so I'd be nagging. Oh, you did the thing. Oh, now there's hair everywhere. I'd bring it up passively. Like, I'm just in here cleaning the bathroom because there's hair everywhere. That doesn't feel good. Versus when I really stopped to look at it, one is doing this because it's my request, because I really like it. I think it's super juicy and sexy. I love when he does it. It feels like I get a brand new boyfriend every time. It's like, oh my God. Like, can I kiss you even? Is this okay? Like, it literally gets me super lit up. And then I'm like, whoa, this hair is proof that I have a super amazing person in my life. I'm not alone. Like, I have this lover. Instead, it got to mean something else. I was the one making it mean he didn't respect me. When the reality was, he didn't wipe it up, right? He just didn't do the job I would do. He didn't see all the little pieces. He was wiping it up. He thought he did a good job, and that was great. So I had to create a different meaning. Once I created a different meaning, and I started saying, hey, thanks. I noticed you cleaned up after that. Thank you. I wasn't like, hey, I noticed you cleaned up. There was still more. So maybe next time you could do a better job. It was just like, hey, I noticed you do that. Thank you so much. Oh, I love it when you shave. I really appreciate it. It's so nice, right? So I am appreciating out loud all those things. Guess what? I almost never see hair. Once I stopped nagging and it stopped becoming a thing that meant something negative, it just stopped happening. He got better at cleaning up. And this happens in so many ways, in so many different places, in our friendships, in our relationships, with your kids, with the mailman. When we stop and we take away the meaning we've given something and we give it a different meaning that feels good, and then we start to acknowledge and appreciating the way the person is showing up, they get to show up more in a way that feels clean and light and connected versus always having to be like, oh God, did I do it right? Like, oh, so I'm walking on eggshells in a relationship. Like, oh, I can't remember, did I do the toilet seat or not? Like, I better run up because she's going to yell at me, get mad. It's going to become this whole thing, right? When we are connected to ourselves, when we're aligned with ourselves, we're much more aware of the meaning we are giving something. In alignment, I can look at the sink and go like, oh, I've been thinking that means he doesn't respect me because he's not cleaning up after himself. But the reality is I can't actually know if that's true. And when I look at it and I give it different meaning, Now I have a different sense and opening. So was it about me being a pushover, him not cleaning up? It opens up all these different possibilities there.
And remember, when you're not in alignment, you are vulnerable and susceptible to your default. So whatever default you're carrying around, right? No one respects me. I don't belong. You're dismissing me. You don't listen to me. Nobody listens to me. Whatever it is, people take advantage of me. That's a big one. So if that's your default, right? If that's your conditioning, if that's the drunk monkey that sits on your shoulder, remember, when you're taxed, you're tired, you're out of alignment, you go through the world experiencing everything through the lens of that. So you don't have an alternative choice than to see everything that goes wrong. That person who cut me off, on the road did it because they don't respect me and blah, 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 blah. And they were out to get me when meanwhile, maybe they were racing to the hospital because their kid was there. You don't even have the farsight to be able to go there. And just like Ruby talked about in the instance of Dylan, when you're out of alignment, you don't have the ability to see, sort of like, you're too myopic in the way you view things, that you don't have that capability of being able to say, what else could this be? What else does this mean? Can I subscribe to a new narrative around here? We will look for things to affirm about ourselves, right? All the shitty beliefs, even if, just like Ruby said, even if it has nothing to do with respect. There was no way in the world. It was not about disrespecting Ruby around leaving the hair. When Ezra leaves the toilet seat, it's because he forgets. He forgets and doesn't really care. It's not because he doesn't listen to me and he doesn't respect me. Wherever you're at in that mindset is going to determine how you see that experience. And this is what we talk about when we explore this idea of being an intentional creator, of living life on your terms. You are completely aware of whatever beliefs I am abiding by at the moment. That is going to determine the way in which I construct reality and the way in which I see reality. And this is so super critical, because you could shift your focus and nothing changed and you could be living a very different reality.